CMA Part 2, Section E, and now we have Essay 4. Small, tiny essay type, just 2 paras and just little information. NPV IRR has already been calculated for you, so that's a great help. Question number 1, before we read the question, we need to read the scenario first. Alex Conrad, financial analyst for Romco, is presenting 2 mutually exclusive capital budgeting projects. Mutually exclusive means either project 1 or 2, both cannot be taken simultaneously. Just one of the two. So we have these 2 projects proposals and we need to select one out of them. The preliminary results for the net present value and internal rate of return analysis of the 2 projects are being discussed. NPV of the first project is 0, IRR is 12%. Project 2 has an NPV of 49,469, IRR is 17.65. Internal rate of return is higher than the project 1. Project 1 is expected to have a positive after-tax cash flows of $200,000 per year for 6 years and NPV 0 at this rate. Project 2 is expected to have a positive after-tax cash flows of $85,000 for the 6 years. Annual cash flow for Project 1, Project 2. But this project requires an initial massive investments of $822,800, whereas this project requires just $300,000. Okay. So during the meeting, Conrad was asked to explain several issues related to his analysis of the project. Fine. First question. Because of the volatility in the financial markets, the company's cost of equity may be higher than assumed in this analysis. We have not been given the cost of equity. We are just being told that the cost of equity may be higher than assumed in this analysis. This is important as Romco is entirely equity financed. Remember, we have 4 sources of finance that go into the computation of weighted average cost of capital, WACC. Some of it is common stock, some comes out through the retained earning, some debt, and some preferred stock. In this specific question, the business is entirely equity financed, which means there is no preferred stock and no debt, just cost of equity. And there is no need of weighted average cost of capital because we have just a single source of finance. So it says, what cost of equity was used in this analysis? Explain your answer. Okay. Going back to the scenario, whenever we calculate NPV, we take either the weighted average cost of capital, which is not possible in this case, risk-adjusted discount rate, with no information to this has been given in the scenario. Then it must be the cost of equity only, because this company is only equity financed. And since the NPV is 0, we use a certain rate, and at that rate NPV was 0. We used a certain discount rate at which NPV was 0. If you remember in the previous lecture we discussed, whenever your discount rate is less than the internal rate of return, your NPV is positive. NPV is positive. Whenever your discount rate you use for NPV calculation, if it is greater than IRR, NPV is negative. And whenever your discount rate is equal to internal rate of return, at that rate your NPV is 0. And that is exactly what has happened in the given scenario. Your NPV is 0. And this is IRR. If this is the IRR, definitely it means this is the discount rate. Since the company is entirely equity financed, this represents the cost of equity. 12%, gentlemen, is your cost of equity, the cost of capital. Halas, that's the idea, that's the point. Your answer would be around. So the cost of equity and the weighted average cost of capital will be the one and the same since the company is totally equity financed. NPV is 0 at IRR. And what is IRR? 12. Since NPV is 0 only when the discount rate and IRR are equal, since IRR is 12, that means the cost of capital or discount rate is 12. Same reason, same justification that I gave you in my explanation. Next, question number 2. Would an increase in the cost of equity affect the NPV and IRR of the projects and thus the desirability of the undertaking the projects? If the cost of equity goes up, go back to the scenario. Right now your cost of equity is 12%, right? If the cost of equity goes up by more than 12%, cost of equity is greater than 12%. You know what will happen? When the cost of equity is more than 12%, that will be your discount rate. Your NPV of project 1, which was 0, it will become negative. Your project 2, which is currently giving a positive NPV, it will either reduce, and if your cost of equity is beyond 17.65, it will become negative. So remember, if your cost of equity is between 12 and 17.6, this first project will definitely become negative in NPV. But if your cost of equities is above 17.65, your second project will also give a negative NPV, because whenever, I just told you, discount rate is more than the internal rate of return, NPV turns negative. So yes, increasing the cost of capital would lower the desirability of both projects. The first project will surely turn negative. Second project, NPV will fall. But if the discount rate is above this, this will become negative too. Khalas, no more, no less. That will fully answer what the examiner is looking for. Right? What would an increase the cost of capital? We have given the full justification. You can just list them down. Question number 3. There is a possibility that the corporate income tax rate may be lowered in the near future. If this were to occur, how would this affect the net present value and the IRR of the projects? If the tax rate falls, decrease in the tax rates will increase your annual cash flows. Cash inflows, of course. Less tax to be paid, your annual cash flow goes up. Resultantly, your net present value for both projects, for project 1 as well as project 2, it will increase for both. So whenever the tax rate will fall, you will have more cash flows. Less is to be paid under the tax. Annual cash flows goes up. NPV for both projects will go up. What about IRR? IRR is the internal rate of return for the project. Since you have more cash flows now, your IRR will go up as well. Project becomes more profitable. You have more cash flows after taxes. Resultantly, your IRR will go up as well. So NPV will increase and IRR will increase as well, because whenever the cash flows change, NPV and IRR both change, because both of them depend upon the cash flows, right? So NPVs and IRRs both will change and go upwards if the tax rate is decreased. This is the idea around which you will discuss the overall answer. No further needing. Remember to give exactly what the examiner is asking for. No more, no less. Be specific, to the point, save your time, and just give what is needed. Right? See, lowering of corporate tax rate increases the future after-tax cash flows. This would raise your NPV and IRR both projects. Project 1 and 2 will have both higher NPV and higher IRR. Next, what is the payback period for each project? Very simple. Payback period, don't go for any tabulation, save your time. 822 800 initial investment, 200,000 is the annual cash flows. Divide these two numbers, you will get the payback period for project 1, which is going to be 822. Keep your calculations as simple as possible. Divided by 200,000, it's 4.11. 4.11 years. What about the second one? 300,000 divided by 85,000. Initial investment divided by annual cash flows. 300,000 divided by 85,000, that gives you 3.52. Simple as that. 3.52 years. It's as simple as that. Keep it simple. Show calculation like this and that. You're all done. 4.11 and 3.52. Even after give you 2 places after decimal or 1, it's totally your choice. I will go for 2 digits after the decimal point. Right, so that was your question number 4. Same results. 4.11, 3 point. Initial investment divided by annual cash flows. No more, no less. Identify and explain 3 weaknesses of using the payback period to decide on doing these projects. Weaknesses of payback period. There are many weaknesses, just a couple of them would be enough. He has said 3, so give exact 3. Exact 3. First, payback period ignores cash flow after the calculated payback period. You will ignore all the cash flows for year 4, 5, 6, 7. You just need the cutoff date where you need to recover your initial investment. That's the first drawback. Second, it ignores time value of money. Payback period does not discount future flows. That's the major time value of money, which is the major drawback. And finally, our focus is only on the cutoff date. We will not consider any project that is little extended in duration. Some profitable projects can be long term, but since we focus only on payback period, so we might reject certain projects which might be very beneficial for the company, but we have just rejected because they do not meet our payback requirement. Just this much, and you get full credit for that. No need to overdo this. Completes your essay.